Habit 2. Get off the hedonic treadmill. Why are we a poor predictors of our own happiness and how can you get it right? Women on average are less happy today than 14 years ago. Develop the ability to be content while also aiming higher. Tailor your own personal happiness program. Ever experienced the excitement of a new car, the smell, the beauty, the new gadgets, the only to have it wear off a few months later after you get used to it, or moved into a new place, one much nicer than your previous residence, but within a short time become accustomed to bigger closets or extra space. Worse yet, you have ever left one situation, such as job or relationship, only to find yourself in a new with equally stressful challenges. Terry was determined not to be like her mother, a housewife who struggled to make ends meet when Terry's father left their family after falling in love with his administrative assistant. Terry was 10 when her parents divorced, and now 25 years later, she finally realized how many of her choices had been about proving she didn't need a man to make it in the world. She attended a terrific college and earned a graduate degree to boot. She had, in essence, provided everything for herself that her father did not, and more. In 12 years, she bought three homes, trading up each time first a condo, then a small bungalow near downtown, and now a 3,000 square foot house in the suburbs. Her widow sister and nephew came to live with her after she bought the last home, so she at least had some company. It was an awful lot of space for one person. A new car was a necessity, and she never kept one longer than 2.5 years. She filled her life with stuff, expensive stuff. It gave her comfort to know she could afford it on her own. However, it was never enough. The newness always wore off, and Terry soon needed something better to feel good. By the time Terry came to me for coaching, she knew her penchant for new and better stuff was leaving her feeling unfulfilled and draining her bank account. What she wanted was happiness. How she went about finding happiness, however, delivered only temporary burst of it, fleeting pleasure, not lasting joy. Happiness is a greater motivator. Most things we pursue in life, jobs, relationships, money, we pursue because we believe they will bring happiness. So, isn't it critical to know what actually does? The fact is, we have more food, cars, and clothes, better health, double the income, bigger houses, and more conveniences than we had 50 years ago. But those in developed nations like the United States, Britain, and Japan are no longer. In fact, once a person has enough income to live on, making them happier can be quite a challenge unless they gain the wisdom to understand what really matters. We think we know what makes us happy, so we strive for it, even chase after it. Often we get it, and then we get used to it. Boredom or discontentment sets in, and we declare that there's something more we need in order to be happy. Welcome to what psychologists call the hedonic treadmill, the process of continually adapting to improving circumstances and eventually returning to a relatively neutral point. Part of the problem is confusing the event of crossing the finish line with the experience of getting better. You get the new house and you are thrilled, but a couple of years later, the thrill is gone. You finally reach that big goal you have been aiming for, but the achievement feels oddly anticlimactic. The most successful women, those who are fulfilled, have developed the maturity to know what really matters and put the rest in perspective. They don't chase achievements and pleasure inducing events, but built a foundation for contentment. James 4:3 warns, when you ask, you do not receive. When you ask with wrong motives, then you may spend what you get on your pleasures. Getting off the hedonic treadmill means embracing contentment. There is a paradox about success and happiness. The higher your success level, the higher expectations, and the higher your expectations, the more opportunity for disappointment. As you probably know from experience, disappointment doesn't exactly fuel happiness. In fact, over the last 30 years, there are people reported to be the happiest nation in the world are the Danish. They tend to be healthy, married, physically active, all proven contributors to happiness. But these but these facts do not tip them over the scales of happiness. Instead, it seems people in Denmark have lower expectations than other Westerners, including their neighbors, Finland and Sweden, who have a similar culture and climate. Eric Wiener, author of The Geography of Bliss, One Crumb Search for the Happiest Place in the World, said this in a New York Times article about happiness and expectation. Your happiness is a function of our expectations, or as it is has been said, happiness equals reality minus expectations. Given that neat formulation, there are two ways to attack the problem: boost our reality or lower our expectations. Most of us choose the former. We would rather stew in our misery than trim our expectations. Lowering our sights smacks us as a cop out un American. Better a nation of morose overachievers we reason than a land of happy slackers. So what's a woman to do? Lower expectations, stop dreaming big to keep from being disappointed. You may have figured out by now that I would never tell you to stop dreaming and believing, but I will tell you this. If you want true success, the kind that creates a harmony of purpose, resilience, joy, and you will have to develop the ability to be content while also aiming higher. Being graceful for your many blessings while believing more is possible is a sign of spiritual maturity. It will require you to let go of the guilt of asking God for more. Should be no guilt. After all, if your primary mission is about service, you getting more then also means that others get more. Ask and expect with the right motives, and you will demonstrate the kind of stewardship that leads to greater opportunities. You have been faithful with few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Jesus says in the parable of the talents. However, when your motives are impure, about simply accumulating accolades, achievements that are not purposeful, or material possessions, it will be impossible to find contentment. You will always want more because the thrill of the victory, no matter how great, will eventually wear off. This is why studies show that we are poor predictors of what will make us happy. Time and again we proclaim, if only I had, if only I had. I had X, I would be happy. Or if only I could do X, I would be happy. However, when we get X or do X, we soon find ourselves saying the same. But this time, instead of X, it's the Y. We have to start by getting clear about what really matters. Let's take a moment to boost our knowledge and understanding of what is known to actually make us happier. And to understand why as women happiness seems elusive at times.